on our first podcast episode of Talk to Me Woman with the wonderful Lily, who I met through a creative writing
Mhm.
class that we started with Women's Voice Network, which is an organization that advocates for women who have survived domestic violence and human trafficking. And just some statistics to start: 300 million women are subjected to domestic violence every year, and 12 million women worldwide are victims of human trafficking. So we're here to talk about a really important cause. And Lily, would you like to introduce yourself and get us started?
Absolutely. My name is Lily Francos, and I'm very humbled. I'm very honored, and it's a privilege to be here today to be able to speak my story, how I got here, and I'm just like blown that I have this opportunity that I so much want to share with other women alike. So thank you very much for having me here.
It's my pleasure, Lily, and it's been amazing working with you for the past year about now. So, first, we're going to tell you a little bit about Women's Voice Network, which is an organization that was started by a woman named Iris Garcia, and she runs many different programs to help women get back on their feet, such as different like technology programs, different classes. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement with the organization, Lily?
Of course. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm 64 years old and I'm not ashamed to say it. And I was pretty much ready to throw in the towel, you know. And and I prayed and I just didn't get the answer. I knew, like Oprah says, that I had a purpose and something I had to do something, but I just didn't know how to get there. And through knocking on doors and through therapy and a hand of the higher power, I ended up with Iris. I called and I wrote, and I finally arrived. I finally arrived, being a victim of suffering from abuse, and now being here, able to tell my story, is just yeah, like I said, I'm blown because we're survivors. We're survivors, and Women's Voice Network and Iris have changed my life immensely. So, yeah, from trauma to triumph, and I'm here to share what Women's Voice did for me. I'm a communications major, and I was really outdated. And I said, I don't even know how to do a virtual class. She says, don't worry, don't worry. To not make a long story, too long because we don't have that much time. She grabbed me by the hand and she took me through the ropes. And when I was like really scared and kind of didn't know what to, she kept on holding me and holding me and holding me, and here I am. And I started with the introduction to computer, which gave me Word. I know how to do a spreadsheet in Excel, PowerPoint, on how to like have a pet business if you want one, the Outlook. I mean, and now they have the AI generated where women can use that to create a business. They have financial classes. I mean, the sky is the limit, and we're hoping here, if we have enough viewers, and we hope that you support us, that we're going to also have classes on how creativity can help heal women too. And I mean, the sky's the limit. And we look forward to seeing you, to hearing from you, giving us your like, your share, your subscribe, and also to tell us what you would like us also to talk about, if there's anything that we can provide for you, because we are a support group. We're here to educate, to support, and to not let you fall, because women that have undergone these things hide from shame and guilt. And that, like me, I thought, I'm too old. Well, hey, no, you know what? No, I didn't give up, and she didn't let me give up. And meeting you, it was an amazing, uh, it's amazing. Empowerment, an attorney, and you were teaching classes and the stories we read about boots and eyebrows and all those things. And there, those women's journeys and how they came out triumphant too, even though they might have not suffered abuse. But it's we're about women for women, and so that's what I
Exactly.
like to
That's a good
share.
way to start us off. I will be. So anyway, I wanted to talk a
Of
little
course,
bit
you will be.
about what Lily was saying. We're here to talk about basically women's solidarity and what happens when women come together and discuss their experiences. Of course, you're free to share anything that you'd like to share. A lot of times in our classes, we discussed different books, like Lily mentioned, different stories of female empowerment, and people discussed the different ways that they related to these texts. And I think Lily, you talked about how creativity can lead someone to healing or can lead to new perspectives, and I think that was like a main point of our class, and it's partially why we're here. Like from that class, we decided to start a podcast, and so we're here basically. Lily's here to tell some of her story, and we're here to help bring empowerment to women through the work that we do together. And I just wanted to ask before we get into your story, Lily, you mentioned that book Boots, and that was a favorite book or by Cheryl Strayed. And I was wondering what spoke to you the most about that book.
Truthfully, all I relate, even though they're different stories. It the core essence is the same. You know, they were looking for meaning. They were trying to find a way and a path through life, but they had to go through many struggles and a lot of pain to arrive to where they got to. But they didn't give up, and through writing they did many other things, but also through writing their books. That's part of creativity and telling their stories. They share with us what many women in life go through and come out through the other side. And look at them now. Look at them now. Not only was one, trailblazing through, I don't know, was it the Grand Canyon or one of those national parks. The other one started, with brows coming from, I don't remember, it was Czechoslovakia or Yugoslavia, one of those countries. And she started doing brows, and now she's in Beverly Hills. Not only does she do that for famous people, she also wrote a book. And it's simple language, and she's extremely successful. And so we as an organization that works with women of abuse know the pain and the suffering that they've gone through, and and we really need your support, and we need you to outpour and talk to your friends and your family. Even if you're not someone who has suffered, there's someone that is out there that has. They might be terrified and scared of their abuser, and we're here to try to reach out to those people and say, all is not lost, and we're here, and we're going to help you. Iris is an amazing woman. Not only does she have her IT technology, she does this on the side to help other women, and which that's why she's such a great teacher, because she knows about computers. So, and there's something for you, and we're here for you, because that's how I heal as well. It's kind of a symbiotic relationship, helping and receiving, giving and receiving. It's just an amazing thing. So yeah, that's what we're here to do. This podcast here is to provide support, encouragement. We're gonna have different subjects, women in leadership, different things. We're not sure 100%, but in the beauty industry, whether it's through hair, makeup, whether it's sewing, whatever it can be. I mean, we women are amazing, amazing creatures, if I may use that word, because we're so multifaceted and we can do so many things. And together, I mean, look where we arrived. Alone, I could have never been here today. So I am really grateful and I want to give back. And I want you to know that you're not alone.
And I feel the same
So,
exact way, Lily. Thank you for sharing that. I think we're here. I like what you said about helping women harness their creativity through all of these different things, whether it's we were talking about having an episode about like feeling beautiful inside and out. We were talking about leadership and how women can harness their experiences to lead and empower others. And there are so many ways that we can draw upon experiences in life to give back and to make the world a better place and to advocate for a cause. And that's what we're here together. I think one of the best ways to advocate is to use your voice, hence Women's Voice Network and our podcast. We're showing that we refuse to be silent, and that we want to continue to help lift women
right.
up through our work. So I guess let's get into a little bit about how you became involved with Women's Voice, and then we'll go into your story. So, how did you initially get involved with the organization?
Well, I found a card from Leap. And Leap is another organization also created for women who helps them transition from from a position that's unfavorable to being able to be out in the community again. And for some reason, I had a boss who had taken me to one of their events, and I was blown because it was in a bookstore here in Coral Gables, and they had all these pictures of all these women, and they had their stories. And if you just see what they went through, I'm getting goosebumps as we speak. Um, I was just blown, and that you could see in their faces and how they are now people that have integrated back into society and are leading really successful lives and are full of purpose. And I had stashed that away, for a long time. I didn't think much of it, but it had touched me. And then after years, like I said, I was talking to my higher power and I said, what would you have me do? And when like I said, I was almost ready to throw in the towel, not suicidal or anything, but like I give up. I don't know what else to do. I picked up that card and I called. I made up an appointment. The lady there was so amazing too. She dedicated 2 hours. She saw my desperation and she gave me Iris's contact. And she says, this lady is who you need, who's going to help you now with the computer skills. I was so outdated. And I knocked on the door and I wrote letters and I wrote thank you letters and follow ups. And I insisted and I said, I didn't know how, but I knew that I had arrived to the right door. And I started to feel it and it started to motivate me. It really started to motivate me. And then I met Iris, and like I said, Iris, with all her busyness, she has a family, she has a business, and she has this organization, and she goes to different events, workforce shops in Hialeah. I met her there too, and et cetera, et cetera. She took the time and never, not once, was absent, nor would I have dared unless it was something of utmost an emergency. She was there to hold me to the hand. And when I thought, and she was so fast and so quick, I was amazed of how quick I learned with her when I had gone to another college. I don't want to mention, and I didn't learn half as much in 3 months when I learned with her all that I learned. I had a base, but not as much. I mean, I can add, subtract, divide, get a discount on a spreadsheet. I can color code. I do graphics of different types. I did a PowerPoint on an animal business if you want to be like a babysitter for animals and things. I started to get more motivated and more motivated. And then we started to talk about this, the books that we were doing. And look at us here today now. Is that not empowerment? It is, because we did it together, and we have an amazing organization of amazing women, and we want more to come and join us in any way that you can. Volunteer, donate, please. You know how many other women are out there in desperate need that are probably terrified, and we want to reach them. I mean, this is a big subject now. Look at all this, the thing going on with Epstein's case. Some of them got married afterwards, and they couldn't take the pain, and suicide committed suicide. How sad is that? We don't want anything like that to happen to any other woman. And you might know somebody or someone that knows somebody. And even if you're not, we want you to be part of us and help us keep growing.
Exactly. You make a lot of good points about how timely the subject is and how important it is to continue to reach out to women and advocate for them and bring them into kind of like a circle of solidarity where, people are free to share experiences, free to reach out and make relationships with other women. And I think that's the beauty of Women's Voice Network is that people get to form meaningful relationships through different classes and connect with other women. And in that way, I think we're all able to make the world a better place for women. Because as we said before, globally, a lot of women are still struggling with centuries of inequality. So, Lily, can you tell me a little bit of your story as much as you're interested in sharing today?
Of course, I'd be happy to and obliged. You know, I come from a nice family. My parents were good people, but I later on through therapy learned that I suffered from issues of abandonment and neglect. Not that my mother didn't feel, on the contrary, neglect and abandonment in an emotional way. They were too busy. They were immigrants. They were too busy. And I guess being an ultra sensitive person that I found out later that I was, my needs were larger than what they could suffice or even understand. Because back then, like my mother used to tell me, people didn't even talk about psychology unless it was an extreme case, right? It's not something that's visual, like a pimple that comes out or cancer. That mental and emotional problems are really difficult to detect. You start detecting them through behaviors, through time. We have so much more information now. And we need to talk about it. And so when you come from abuse, and then I had some other family members that um, came from Cuba, and they were placed in foster homes and suffered abuse, and some of them became abusers themselves. And I know that it's a touchy subject, but we need to discuss it, because you might be one of them, and we can't hide the sun with a finger, right? So it's not about judging, but just to understand where the pain and the hurt comes from and what we need to heal. And it took a long, long journey of self-work and therapy and programs and a will to get out of that dark hole of shame and guilt, because I received from the exterior, but then I was so full of guilt and shame, and I had no self-worth and self-value, because I was also auto-destructing, and it became a vicious cycle of a lot of things, choosing wrong relationships. I mean, I chose a man who threw me down the stairs and broke my wrist and would coerce me if I didn't give him money and things like that. And my mother wanted to help me. She didn't know how. And I thought that I loved this man. That's insane. But I knew that I was something wrong, but I didn't know who to go to, and how embarrassing. And it was an addiction of a lot of things, of, of his controlling me being codependent, and the substance, and the rest of the intimacy, all that. And And you see this because these things are out on TV now, where women have been, I mean, like again, I'm going to say the cases of Epstein. They thought they were going to be models and this and that, and they're naive. They're not educated enough. Where they nothing was talked about because you think, oh, these were nice people, or they fell into a trap, and then they didn't know how to get out of it, and they were terrified and they were scared. And like you said, this is where we're going to find our voice and share, so that someone else that's out there, and we as women know each other's pain, even if you didn't go through it, that we're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior anymore. And we need to keep growing, and we need to keep about it, and we need to keep educating and giving support and being with sister companies, and things of that nature. And I um I just want to let people know that it doesn't matter how far down the scale you went. If you're still alive, you still have value, you still have purpose, and the creator has not lost your file. And we're here to give you the support to educate you and help you in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly. Thank you for
I'm here.
sharing. Thank you for sharing, Lily. And I think
Welcome.
it's really brave of you to share. And I think it's important for people to hear your story. And it's important that we offer people support, and tell and to share with women that they are valued no matter what they've been through, and that they should not feel ashamed. And if they do, that's okay. And there are ways to move past it, and to live healthier and to give back. And that's what we're here for. We're a community, of women supporting other women. And it's been a wonderful time being part of the organization. And I've been honored to hear your story, and to interact with all of the other wonderful women that I've met. So let's talk a little bit more about. I know we mentioned we wanted to discuss, Clarissa Pinkolas Estes, because I think she offers a really wonderful metaphor for the work that we've done, in her book and audio tape, Healing of the Stone Child, that you mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit about that
I would
story?
like to. Yes, Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes is a psychologist that talks about the psyche through myths and stories. And she talks about the ones that I know best are the stone child and the stolen mother moon. And the stolen child is really talking about the soul. It's starving. It's so hungry that it'll eat anything. You know, basically like a piece of cold stone where it's dying. You know, and then she talks about it's a little longer, so we don't have that much time, but where there's still, even though you're almost at your end of your wits and you're making poor decisions because you're eating rancid reindeer meat, rotten and it's spoiled, speaking about making poor choices in life, there's that little flame that you have to keep flaming. But if you keep flaming, it'll grow. And then that stone child is holding onto a stone. It's ready to die, you know. And it just starts walking with its stone because that's all it has, and it's cold. And he sees an older woman, and he says, "I'm very hungry." She says, "Well, I'm cold. I mean, I have food, but I don't have anything to heat the food with." And he says, "But I have a stone." He says, "Oh, well, they both had a little something, and that together they were able. She that stone, she was able to heat the kettle, her food, and then she was able to share some food with, and they were both able to survive. Isn't that something?" And it's speaking metaphorically. And then the stolen mother moon speaks about the subconscious and the psyche. It's that dark side of the soul. And then it's a stolen mother moon. That's why it's stolen. It's taken through the darkness. But then that ray of light comes in, and it's that spark again that wait a minute, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I found here with women's voice. And of course, a help from my higher power and rest in peace with my therapist who kind of got me here. I lost him sometime like in November, a great man, and he passed away. But it was a lot of things. But I'm so grateful that I'm here at Women's Voice. I can't tell you. I can't wait to see how much more we're going to grow with this podcast and with what we're doing here today.
And I feel the same way. First, I just want to touch upon those stories and talk about how much I like that
Okay.
metaphor of the light that we can all bring, or the fact that no matter how much darkness people have gone through, there always is some light. And the first story of the child about how people can come together throughout no matter what they've been through, and still be together and help each other heal and share stories and create things together, and really make the world a better place together. And that's what I like so much about that story. It's about people coming together throughout everything that they've been through and kind of creating something that's whole. So I think, oh, we lost you for a sec, Lily. There we go.
No, for a second, I'm so
That's okay.
sorry. It was through the, yeah, the something happened
That's
with the
okay. We're
generator.
still good.
And
Oh,
you were saying about the
so
stone
I was
child.
saying that I like the idea of how like everyone can bring something from their life, and offer it to someone as a lesson, or as hope or something. And the idea that we can all come together with different pieces and make the life, or make the world and our lives more whole. And we
What a wonderful analogy. That's so beautiful, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I it's a great analogy, and thank you for introducing me to that myth. And I'd recommend everyone reading some of her stories, Clarissa Pinkolas Estes. It's really interesting reading. So we're gonna tie up our first podcast today. I want to thank everyone for coming to the first episode of Women, or Talk to Me Women. We're going to continue to produce these podcasts the first Sunday of every month. And Lily, I want to give you the floor to say some ending remarks. I want to thank you so much for being here and telling your story.
Well, I thank you and Iris and all the women that are participant in women's voice and all the women out there because I believe we're all connected in one way or another. That again, and I don't want to be sound too repetitive. To please, like, share, support our cause, and our podcast, and feel free to comment and tell us what you would like or anything anything that you would like to be participant would be great, because we're here to provide support, to educate, to inspire, and be part of. We want to be part of your life, we do. That's what we want to do. And I don't know, I think that that's all that I have for today, but I'm really looking forward for the next podcast and hearing from you, and please donate if anything would be really helpful. And
I
I
think
guess
that's
that's all.
That's great. So once again, we want to ask everyone to tune in to our podcast the first Sunday of every month from 6 to 6:30, and please comment videos or podcast topics that you're interested in. Like Lily said, we're interested in hearing from the community, and in building out this community. If you're interested in being on a podcast, or sharing your story, or talking about something that you do that helps empower women, we invite you to reach out to us, and we're excited to hear from you and to kick off this series. So, thank you so much, Lily. This has been
Thank
a
you so
wonderful
much.
first
Thank you
episode.
very much.
And all right, everyone, we're gonna sign off, and please stay posted for more. All right,
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. See you soon.
I'll see you
Take care.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.